Hi, I'm Danielle. My biggest lesson I learned this week was probably just the way God uses people. I don't know, coming into this, I wasn't sure how many opportunities we were to be able to share Christ. And I knew we were going to do great things for people who didn't have the right, their homes were a mess from the hurricane, but the fact that we really got to know a homeowner, Vince, so well, and we were able to show God through the way we acted and the way we spoke and we got great conversations, and that's something I just learned, and I was just amazed kind of how he used us in a way that I didn't think would actually happen. And it was really, really cool. It's one of the things I prayed about was I wanted opportunities to share Christ, and we totally felt like we got that, and it was really, really great. My biggest highlight was talking to Vince and him telling us that he saw God working, and it's just one of those things was we always try to show God in the way we live, but when someone goes to that and says, I could see God was at work here, this is God, house was built by God, and like he was like, he sent you angels to come, and that was just something that's just amazing that he, through us, the way we acted, he saw God, and he saw that God was good and that God was loving and caring and great. It's probably definitely one of the most amazing parts. I would do it again any day.
So what I've learned this week, pretty much I've learned about myself, which is going to sound like really conceited, but a lot of things that I couldn't admit to myself all kind of came to light. And kind of realizing that I can't ignore them, and God really wants me to fix those things and move on, so yeah.
Hi everybody, we're Ashlyn
And Lexi.
and we just wanted to share with you our highlight of the week.
Okay, so this guy that we were working on his house, Vince, he was just awesome. It was a great opportunity. We got to talk with him and we got so much stuff done. It was awesome.
It was amazing just to see the progress from when it first started to when it ended. Like when we first got there was no siding and there were pieces of drywall and spackle, and that was it. And when we left, there was siding on the house. We had all the rooms spackled and primed, and some of the rooms, like the living room, the kitchen, and the dining room and his den, were completely painted.
It was insane. And I mean, quote from his wife, she walked in and she was like, it went from a house to a home. I mean, that really touched all of us because we know we did something that was appreciated. Our time wasn't wasted, and
they were really touched by what we did, and we even developed a friendship with them, and
yeah,
it's not going to end because we're going to see them soon, so
can't wait. So what we learned?
Okay.
Want to go first?
Sure.
All right.
Okay. What I learned this week was we have so much, and we shouldn't take life for granted, because these people like Vince and Terry, they have had their entire home ripped from them. Like, they've had their life torn away, because right now they're like living in a secondary home because their primary home was destroyed by the hurricane. And when we were just in a camp for a week that wasn't kept to its best, we have no right to complain or be upset with what we lived with for that week, because they've been living with this for months now. What, since October? October is when Sandy hit, and they've been homeless for that long. And just to witness the progression of their house turning into a home, that's incredible.
And they said they want to move in next weekend.
Yeah, and I'm just blessed with what I have, and just to be able to witness their reactions to their home being finished and almost completed to where they'll be able to move in next weekend. So that was one of my highlights.
And what you learned.
Oh wait, that
Okay, so what I learned.
that was what I learned. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay, so what I learned, I learned about myself, which kind of sounds selfish, and conceited. Anyway, just kind of things that, I mean, I go to church every Sunday. I grew up in this church, and things that I kind of ignored, I guess, because they weren't as bad as everybody else. But I mean, a sin is a sin, and it's still a problem that God doesn't want you to have. It can't be ignored. It won't go away. I learned that I kind of need to face them and admit them to myself, and then I admitted them to my friends, and they're all going to keep me accountable, because if those are out of the way, then you can really seek God for who He is. And yeah.
I agree. I just feel like we've been spiritually and emotionally changed this week, because together as a group we've learned so much, like spiritually. We've been able to read the community Bible experience
Yeah, it's been awesome.
and go through each night as an entire group.
Mhm.
And just with the few things, like that one night, they gave us Band-Aids at the beginning of the service, and towards the end, they had us put them on our hands and think of one thing that we wanted God to heal for us. And it was incredible, because
So
at the
convicting.
end, yeah, like I felt so convicted the night before and that night, just thoughts running through my head, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna give it completely up to God, because without Him, I am nothing. Without Him, I go nowhere. And that one night, they had us put the Band-Aids on the cross, and if we wanted to, kneel at the cross and pray. And it was amazing, because I feel that's when we connected most as a group, because us 4 girls and Laura sat at the foot of the cross, crying, pouring out all our fears and pouring out our minds to God. And I can't wait to see how on fire we are for Christ. And I can't wait to share it with our families and with the church, because once one person lights that spark,
It's a blazing fire.
exactly, it'll turn into a blazing fire. And I hope we can encourage the rest of the youth group and the church
Definitely.
to be on fire for God and not just live for yourself, you know?
Yeah. I mean, everyone has that one thing they don't want to admit to themselves, and even if they admit it to themselves, they don't want to tell anybody else. I mean, that one hidden sin, and that's kind of what they brought out of everybody, and it was a convicting time. I think that night definitely changed the whole week for us.
Most definitely. Well, thank you for listening to us, and goodbye.
So this 2013 Bethel Baptist Church missions has been a great time. I learned a lot, and it's been a great experience for me. So over the past week, I learned a really important lesson, and there was 2 spiritual highlights I really got out of it. So the one lesson I learned is one of the fruits of the Spirit is joy. A majority of the Christian culture in today's society is looked upon as down and just not brightening other people's day, and always sad and depressed. However, over the past missions trip, there was many things that the crew and I did that just brought simple joy out of me. It was the simplest, silliest little thing, but in reality, that was the best thing that could happen for me. And I just think that the Christian majority should have more of that, and we need to express more joy in what we do and just take the positive and be optimistic about everything. So, because that will help keep the enemy away, because Satan uses fear and depression and other things, and that's when he attacks you the most. That's when he goes for your weaknesses. However, if we express joy, it'll be harder for him to attack, harder for him to do those sort of things. So I think we should just take more peace and joy out of everything we do. My first spiritual highlight, Vince, who is the homeowner of the house we worked on, the team worked on, we invited him to church on the 21st of July, and he accepted that he would come. So seeing that he would come to our church is a really big deal, because the goal that we came here to do is accomplish salvation of a new member to Christ and help bring somebody through to heaven through Christ, and show them what it means to have a relationship with God and Jesus. And the more we get him to church, the more we have him experience what Christianity is like, I think the more he will want to join us and become saved in a way that Jesus wants us to be. So just saying let's accomplish that goal of getting closer to saving someone really helped me see the purpose of this, helped me see why I'm here to do what I'm doing for this mission trip. Another spiritual highlight, one thing that we did, it was the Snarky Monarchy Pail. What it is we all got $2 worth of quarters at the beginning of the week from Pastor Brady. And every time we said something mean, down-putting, cutting, and something that was just rude, we would have to take a quarter and put it into the bucket. Once it was put in the bucket, there's no way to earn it back, and you're left with the money you have. And at the end of the week, whoever got the most, whoever still had the most quarters, got the pail and all the money that was inside the pail. So when we did that, I realized how a lot of what I was saying was actually quite rude, and it hurt. Not necessarily hurt people, but it didn't, like I said before, bring the joy out of them and help them connect with God more. It just kind of put them, not down, but it didn't really do anything. It wasn't meaningful, and it didn't honor God in any way or form. But so seeing that kind of helped shift my conversation from down-putting things and offensive jokes to good encouragement, and it taught me when and where to say things, and pretty much how to have enjoyment and use good, clean jokes that people will enjoy and still honor God with. So doing the pail really helped me with that, and I think if I just keep that in my head and in my heart, then I'll be able to improve on the speech I'm doing. So that's a really big highlight for me. That's all I have, so bam, bam. Bam.
Alright, so my spiritual highlight of this mission trip was, well, there's a couple. One of them is just seeing all the work that we got done in Vince's house, the homeowner, and seeing how grateful he was for it. That was really encouraging, and that he wanted to come and spend time with us, and the AmeriCorps people, they wanted to come hang out with us, and I think that it was really cool that somebody said that they heard other people talking, and they were like, yeah, we had devotions every day at lunch, and the two AmeriCorps girls went and they sat there with them, and they were like, yeah, that's what we were doing. And we were like, well, we were just having a good time, and they wanted to hang out with us. They want to come back and hang out with us, and that's just a great reminder of that. We don't have to steadily be getting at them with the word, but like going at them and starting relationships and growing them as a person, and hopefully leading them to Christ. Another spiritual highlight is one of the services we had back at camp. It was very good. It was about like you know, heal wounds that are open, or like struggles that you have, but to be able to overcome them, you have to open up to them and admit that you have them, and admit that, oh, yeah, I'm struggling with this, so now I gotta start to get over it, which I think for at least me, that's the hardest part, is accepting that, you know, I have a problem. Yeah. And then what was the Oh, okay, yeah. A lesson that I took away from this was just that, you know, well, again, there's a couple. Lessons are things that you know, you're standing there and you're watching take place, and you know, it strikes you. So just that, you know, we can go and we can serve other people and have fun while we're doing it. Renovating Vincent's house was a blast. We had so much fun, and we got a lot done, more than people accomplished or people expected. I'm sorry, and we had a ton of fun doing it. And like another lesson too is that in order to grow in our faith, we have to not just run off of special things that we do, like missions trips and TLC, because that only brings you to a high and then eventually goes down. But we have to steadily be in the Word to keep growing, and that's just it's a lot harder than what people think. But if we stick on to it, then God's gonna get in our lives and change it, and I think that's a big part of becoming Christian and actually living the life how we're called to do. So, thank you. Bingo.
So my life lesson was to not avoid problems and to face them head on, because if you don't face them head on, they'll just grow and get worse pretty much. And like today at the lake, when we were jumping over the ledge, it was a pretty high ledge, but if you didn't want to jump over it, you would work yourself up, and if you worked yourself up, then you wouldn't want to do it even more. But once you did it, you kept wanting to do it over and over again, and you just forgot about the problem. So yeah, and the next thing is about my
Highlight for the week.
Highlight for the week was seeing Vince, who was our homeowner, and his wife Terry. So happy when we got there and started getting work done, and how quickly we got work done, and also because of Vince and Terry both said that we were their angels, and that we just helped them so much. And it's nice to think that they're gonna come hopefully to our church service and hopefully get connected. And yeah, hopefully we'll see him again. So, Parisi, represent.
Who I was doing all this, all these tasks for. It was very neat to see Vince. It was very neat to see his gratitude towards this week.
Good.
Yep.
I'm Brittany. So highlights for the week. I'm pretty sure a lot of other people said this, but it was definitely just seeing our homeowners' faces, because they were just so excited to see the work that we were doing. and like they called us their angels, and they were so sweet about it, just like letting us into their home and all. And I really feel like they could see that we were different in comparison to other groups, and it wasn't just them who noticed it. It was like even at our camp, like some of the other leaders of different youth groups noticed like we're different from the other groups, and we were more like energetic and excited and just more dedicated to doing the work that needed to be done to make Vincent Terry's home, or Vincent Terry's house, a home. And that's one of the things that I think was really cool, how we got to see that transition from like a bunch of walls and drywall into like something that looked almost livable. I mean, there still wasn't like floor or anything, but just a lot of spackling and sanding and priming and painting, and that just, it made such a huge difference. And one of the lessons that I learned was largely from reading Acts in the Community Bible Experience. I just thought it was so cool to see the things that the Holy Spirit was using the early church to do. And then I saw how that paralleled what we were doing. Because, like, I mean, we weren't casting out demons and healing the lame, but we made a difference in people's lives. And it was an evident difference. Like, people who weren't saved were saying, like, you are God's angels. And I thought that was a really cool thing to see. Just seeing the Holy Spirit in all of this.